So, all right, so just like last week, we did this kind of thing last week. What can I factor? What are my choices for the front? What are my choices for things that multiply to 15? 3 and 5 or 1 and 15. Now, keep in mind we're trying to get the middle to add up to 14. If we're trying to add to 14, do we want to start with a 15? No. So let's go with 3x and 5x, okay? So, and then for the backs, my only options are 1 and 3. We just got to try to get it in the right place. Now, here's a thought. I want you to think about this. Why do I know, regardless of anything else, why do I know that can't be a 3 there? No, I don't even, not even that. What do you think, Riley? Yeah, well, here's what I'm actually going for here. There's a common factor of 3 there, right? If I put a 3 there. If there wasn't a common factor of 3 here, there can't be a common factor of 3 here. If there wasn't one already, it can't just suddenly appear. All right? Some of you are not with me here. Okay? So I know I can't put the 3 there. It's not going to work. There wasn't a common factor of 3 in the original. There's not going to be a common factor of 3 somewhere else. If it works, it's got to be this way. All right? Just some tricks, some thinking about numbers in general. Sometimes we can do that with odd and even. If the middle is odd, you're not going to put 2 even numbers here because you're going to get 2 evens, and if you add or subtract 2 evens, you still get an even. So if you're looking at 4 for your back number, sometimes that can help you figure that out faster if you think about properties of numbers. What about signs? Signs have to be what? Both the same or one of each? Both the same. So they need to both be minus. Okay? And we kind of double check. This is 5, this is 9. 5 and 9 is 14, so we're good. Okay, so that you did a whole worksheet or 2 of those last week. What's the difference between that one and the next one over here on the right? Oh, there's some y's and stuff in there. Remember, that's okay. It's okay if you have x squareds here and y squareds here and xy's in the middle. Okay, it's just on your back, instead of just 7 and 1, which is our only option, it's going to be 7y and 1y. Okay, you just have a y back there. What should we use for, now keep in mind we're subtracting to 9. Okay, want to try 10 and 1 or 5 and 2? 10 and 1? So 10x and 1x. Is that going to give us a 9? That's 10. That's 7. Nope. So will it help to switch? Not really, because then we multiply the 10 by the 7 and we're at 70. How about some 5 and 2 somewhere? Which way? If I put the 5 there, that takes me to 35. I'm thinking that's probably too big, huh? So let's try putting the 2 here and the 5 here. Check. Now I've got 5xy there, and I've got 14xy there, and that will do it. Okay? But do you see how you get xy's in the middle that way? You get y squareds in the back, xy's in the middle. Signs? This tells me what? Both the same or one of each? One of each. That tells me one of each. So then I look to see, I need to end up with plus 9. So I need the 14 to be the plus and the 5 to be the minus. I need to make sure that happens inside the parentheses. Okay, so here's my factored form with all the extra stuff written there, but that's the answer. Now, here's some things that happen in the book assignment that you're going to be doing today. So we've got, what do you notice about this next example here on the left? There's 2 things that we need to do with this one that we didn't do on the other ones. Up here, guys. Since there's no equal sign at all, we're just factoring. That's okay. It's out of order. We need x squareds, then plain x's, then plain numbers. What else can we do with this one before we do the trinomial factoring? We can factor out a 4. Sometimes there's a common factor to factor out first. The nice thing is what that does is it makes your numbers smaller to deal with when you're factoring the trinomial. Okay? So some of the problems on today's assignment, you may have to factor out a common factor first. You should always look for a common factor first. Okay? So this is one of those where I was telling you, I know I'm not going to use 2 and 2 for both reasons. One, I have a common factor here that I didn't have before. And two, it would definitely give me an even number for the middle. And I have an odd number for the middle. So it's going to be 4 and 1. We're trying to subtract to 7. We go there. Minus 8 plus 1. So you just bring down that common factor and then do that. So make sure it's in order and look for a common factor. All right, now when we throw in equation solving with it, okay, so this is the first one that had an equal sign. As long as it's already equal to 0, we just factor. I'm going to try 6 and 1 or 2 and 3. Pick one, it doesn't matter. 2 and 3, so we'll go 2x and 3x, doesn't matter which spot we put them in. What are my only options for the back? 2 and 1, do I want to put the 2 here? You sure? Because I'd have a common factor again that I didn't have before. Okay? So if I do 1 here and 2 here, is that going to give me a 7? Yeah, that's 4 and that's 3. That'll give me 7. Signs? Plus, plus. Both the same, so both plus. Now, we haven't done the equation solving with these with a number in front. So remember what we did for equation solving. The thought process is, what value for x would make this 0? Like, let's come over to this blue one here a minute. This was what we did last week. What's the solution set for this one? Positive 7 and negative 9, because opposites give us 0. So positive 7 minus 7 is 0, times whatever that would be is going to be 0. You know, if this is 0 times whatever that would be, it's going to give us 0. Now we have a number there, though. My solution set is not just negative 1. Okay? That's not going to be right. But it's part of it. Think about it. Here's what we want to talk about. We want to know what value for x would make the blue stuff 0. If I solve that equation, the first thing to do would be move that 1 to the other side, which makes it negative. There's my negative 1. There's my opposite. And then I'd have to divide by 2 to get x by itself. But I also need to think about, well, what value of x would make the yellow stuff 0? What's going to happen with that? Yeah, I'm going to have to move that over and then divide both sides by 3. And all that orange stuff seems like an awful lot of work, right? But shouldn't we be able to do it without having to write that all down? Because the process is going to be the same every time. So look at the purple one. Get it a little higher for those of you in the back. So here's this purple one. What's my solution set? It's equal to 0 and it's factored. Positive 7 over 3, because if we set up that equation, we'd move the 7 over and then we'd have to divide by the 3. The other solution? Negative 5 over 2. That's going to happen every time, so you don't have to write all of this stuff out, because this is what happens every time. Okay? Yes? And the last example that I have for you here, it's not equal to 0, but in this case, when you have something like that, we need to get rid of parentheses before we bring parentheses back, okay? Because we got to get that 10 in there with it. So I need to do distributive property. So that's going to be a plus 21a squared. Now I need to get it equal to 0 and in the right order. I can do that all at once. I want my a squareds, then my a's. I'm bringing the 10 over from the other side, so it's going to be minus. Now I can factor. Keep in mind we're trying to subtract to 1. There's no number here, it's a 1. 21 and 1 or 3 and 7? Let's try 3 and 7. 21 and 1 are awfully far apart if we're trying to subtract to 1. Back. Got to multiply to 10. If I put 2 here and 5 here, I got a 15 and a 14. That gives us that 1 in the middle. So I need plus 15 minus 14. So we took us 2 steps to get it equal to 0. We've got it factored. What's the solution set? You're going to write A equals, and you're going to write the squiggly brace. I don't care how pretty they are, just make them wiggly. What's the solution set? Positive 2 over 3 and negative 5 over 7. Okay? So those things are going to happen in your assignment today. You know, look for things like a common factor first. Don't be startled by x squareds and y squareds as long as you have x squareds, x, y's in the middle. Actually, I think there was one other one that somebody came and asked me about. It's okay if you have x to the 4ths here if you have x squareds here. That would factor. I didn't put a number in front, but that would factor. As long as this number, this one is exactly twice that one, it will still factor. You know, so you can just do x squared and x squared. And that'll give you x to the 4th in front and x squared for your middles. I think that happens in one of today's problems as well. All right?